She fell in love with a man, and she wasn't the only one. He was charming, successful, emotionally intelligent. His name was David Graham. Online, he seemed perfect. He sent thoughtful messages, remembered details, asked the right question. For the women he spoke to, this wasn't casual flirting, this felt real. Because David Graham wasn't just another profile. He was everything they were looking for. David Graham didn't rush. He took his time. Days became weeks. Weeks turned into months. Messages became routines. Good morning texts, late night check-ins. He talked about work, stress, wanting something meaningful. And trust formed naturally because nothing felt fake. But there's one thing David Graham could never do: meet in person. Every attempt came with a reason. A work emergency, a family issue, a sudden illness. He claimed to work in construction. A job vague enough to avoid questions, demanding enough to explain his absence. Video calls were postponed, voice notes were rare, and the face he showed them, it belonged to a real man who had no idea his photos were being used at all. And slowly, small doubts began to surface. Here's what the victims didn't know. They weren't alone. While one woman was being told, "I've never felt this close to anyone," another woman was reading the exact same sentence sent minutes earlier. Conversations overlapped, timelines collided, excuses were recycled, affection was just duplicated. Sometimes one woman would message and wait for hours for a reply because David was busy telling someone else the same story. The lie didn't just stretch, it almost snapped. Eventually, one woman searched deeper. Reverse image searches, profile inconsistencies, stories that didn't add up. And then it clicked. David Graham didn't exist. The photos were stolen, the life was fabricated, the man was an illusion. The person behind David Graham was Adele Draper, a woman, acting alone, but targeting multiple women with using the same fake identity. Not briefly, not accidentally. She built parallel emotional relationships, sometimes overlapping, all built on the same lie. Not for money, but for control. So what is catfishing? Catfishing is when someone creates a fake online identity to form relationships under false pretenses. They choose a face that isn't theirs, a name that isn't real, a life that never happened. And instead of stealing money, they steal something harder to replace: trust, time, and emotional connection. The term catfishing comes from when fishermen out at sea would bring back thousands of fish in huge nets. And those fish are crammed together. Because they are lying dormant almost, they would not be as fresh when they got back to sea. And obviously the more fresh they are, the better price they will get. So they used to throw a catfish in with the other fish and it would chase them around and keep them alert. Simple as that, really. Online, the effect is the same. To the person on the other end, the relationship feels real. Because emotionally, to them, it is. In 2017, the story finally left the screen and entered a courtroom. Adele Draper pleaded guilty of fraud by false representation. The court accepted the harm wasn't financial, but it was emotional. Victims described relationships built on trust, intimacy, and belief. All of it false. She was sentenced to 8 months in prison. The profiles were shut down, the messages stopped, but the damage didn't. Because the end of a lie doesn't undo the feelings that were built inside it. The most disturbing part of this story isn't that David Graham was fake, it's that the feelings were real. Until next time.